Jai Hind students, in this lecture we are going to discuss about the concepts of competency mapping and its linkage with the career development and the succession planning. Every organization needs the competent employees. It is the employees, those who are the most important assets for any organization. So what is actually called as competency? Why the organization need the competent employees? What is the connection of the competencies and the competency mapping with the career development? So all that kind of aspects we are going to read in this lecture. Let us first have a definition of the competencies. Competencies are the skills and the abilities of an individual that result in the better performance in the given area. Like it is the skills and abilities of the employees that may do wonders in terms of profits, in terms of results in the organization. So that's why organization needs the competent employees. Like there are few definitions given by the elites in the field of the management. Like it says that competency is an underlying characteristic of an individual that is causally related to criterion referenced effective or superior performance in a job or a situation. Every good organization have the competent employees. So that's why competency is the most important concept. Now, the concept of competency, it was pioneered by Mackland in 1973, and he said that like competency is not only the knowledge, skill and abilities, but it also includes the behavioral aspects. Here in this diagram, you can see like the first there is a company vision and the mission, and then the organization structure and the culture, and accordingly the individuals are there, the employees are there inside the organization. They must be competent enough so that they can work on the like accomplishment of the organizational vision and the mission, and they just should work according to the organization culture also. Based on the individual competencies, the role competencies are defined, and then the like employees should have the core competencies. Like if the person is from marketing, he should have the core competency in the marketing field. Somebody is from the HR, he should be highly competent into the HR field. Then there are always the growth opportunities for the competent employees, and whenever the competent employees are there in the organization, it always results in the best of the business results. So that's why competency is important for any organization. There may be various kinds of the managerial skills and the competencies. Like the four general types of the skills are as follows. Like number one is the technical skills. Like if the person belongs to any IT field, or if a person is into the innovation and the creativity, which is related with the research into the like specific departments, so he must be technically sound. He should have the technical skills. A person, if he is a senior and is just working with a subordinate, so he should have the supervisory skills also. Every good employee should have the good interpersonal skills also. He should know that how to communicate and interact effectively in his group. Then there are the general skills also that should be there with all the employees. Like to whomsoever or whichever organization you belong, you should have the proper knowledge on the business and the infrastructure of that particular organization. So all these are the skills and the competencies which are expected by an employer with the employees. They should have all these kind of the competencies with them. Now we can further classify the competencies into two ways, like the basic and the professional competencies. Basic competencies are the kind of the competencies which are inbuilt or inherent in all the individuals. For example, all the people have the problem solving skills, so they may be called as the basic skills. Then there may be the professional competencies also. They are related with our specialization. Like if a person is a sales manager, so he should know that how to handle a sales call effectively. So these kind of the competencies are required by the managers. Now we can further go with the types of the basic competencies. Like when we talk about the basic competencies, one should be intelligent enough. He should have the intellectual competencies. He should have the competency with which he can motivate his subordinates, and he should be self motivated always. Then a person should have the emotional intelligence also. He should be emotionally competent. He should know that where to act and react, and like how to behave in a particular situation. Then he should be socially competent. Like he should know that how to interact with the group, how to just communicate effectively his messages to his subordinates and the groups. So all these kind of the basic competencies are required and expected by the management from all of its employees. Now, the various other kinds of the competencies, they may be technical or functional competencies, managerial, human, and the conceptual competencies. Like if you claim that you are a person of or an expert of the operations management, so you should have the uh, good knowledge on the concepts of the operations management. Then you may only be competent, you may only be skilled. There are certain competency characteristics, like it may be divided as like five kind of the skills that must be there within the individual. Like the first is the motives and the traits, they are the hidden kind of the skills. Then there may be self concept, knowledge, and skills. Like there are certain skills which are hidden and there are certain skills which are visible. Like if we talk about the traits and motives, they are the hidden skills which is there in the employees, but they are not visible. And there are certain skills which are visible, like knowledge, skills, and the abilities. Now if you will see into this diagram, like there are central and surface competencies. The competencies like trait and motive, they are the central competencies and they are most difficult to develop. While we talk about the motive, it is the desire, like the kind of the will of any candidate, what he exactly want to achieve in his life, that may be called as a motive. Then there may be the traits, it all reflects the personality traits of any individual, and these are inherent qualities and they are most difficult to develop. Then there are certain surface competencies also, like skill and knowledge, they are easy to develop. If somebody has a commitment, he can develop a great knowledge in any particular concept in which he want to make his career. So they are the kind of the skills which are called as the surface competencies and are easy to develop even. Then the competency mapping. Competency mapping again is an important concept in the field of the performance and the reward management. It is a process of identifying key competencies for a particular position in an organization and then using it for a host of HR applications. Like it is a competency mapping based on which the HR managers can take the crucial decisions of recruitment, selection, training, and development. While we talk about the competency mapping, it is required in all the HR functions. Like if you have the good competency mapping modules and the systems inside your organization, it may help the organizations in the effective training and development decisions, in the recruitment and selection decisions, in career planning, in performance appraisal, in succession planning, in compensation, and in replacement planning. There are certain steps in the competency mapping. The first step is called as the job analysis. Job analysis is carried out by asking the employees to fill a questionnaire that asks them to describe what they are doing, what skills, attitudes, and abilities they need to have to perform it well. Then the second step is developing competency-based job description. Whatever the data that has been collected with the use of the questionnaire, based on that, JD may be maintained, that is job description may be maintained by the personnel department. Then the third step is the mapping of the competencies. Having agreed on the job requirements and the skills and the attitudes needed to progress within it and become more productive, one starts mapping the capability of the employees to the benchmarks. And at last is the evaluation. Finally, the evaluation of competency mapping is done so that the employee who needs training can be guided suitably. So these all are the steps in the competency mapping. There are few methods of the competency mapping, like it may be the past performance based approach. Under this approach, behavioral interview is the main thing, like it is an adaptation of the critical incident interview. This method uses thematic apperception test in probing data about individual personality. This is an interview technique based on the premise that the best predictor of future behavior is the past behavior. So from the past behavior of any employee, his competencies may be mapped to a particular designation. So this is one of the method. Then there may be the job focused method. In this method, like it talks about the various kind of the questionnaires. Like this method has a task, role, or job profile of the incumbent as a central point. The starting point of this method make use of a questionnaire which gathers information on the incumbent's position, and then accordingly the competencies may be mapped with the employees qualities or with the employee competencies. So this is also one of the method. Then there may be the value based method. This method uses cultural and traditional values of the organization to construct competencies. It ranges from a very careful and structured dialogue process involving top leadership to simple pronouncements made by the CEO, and there may be a list of the traits that may be generated with the use of the value based method, just to check like whether the employees are compatible whatever is expected from them. So this is also one of the method of the competency mapping. So the competencies may be mapped with the use of the past performances of the employees, with a check on the like jobs, profiles, and the roles. And like the employees' competencies may again be mapped up according to the organization culture and their traditional values. So these are the three methods of the competency mapping. Again, just to map the competency of the employees, there are the various methods that are used by the organizations. Number one is the assessment center. It is a mechanism to identify the potential for the growth. It is a procedure that uses a variety of techniques to evaluate employees for manpower purpose and decisions. Then the second is the critical incident techniques, under which the elites may just classify the good and the bad behavior, and the competencies may be like matched according to the designations with the use of the critical incident techniques. Like then there may be the interview techniques, competency mapping. This is the most popular technique of the competency mapping. The interviews may be conducted for the like employees, and in that interviews they may be asked that what exactly is the role that they play in the designation, what exactly are the kind of the like skills that are required to perform their job, and then accordingly the competency list may be developed, and then the competencies may be mapped. Then the next is called as the questionnaires. Questionnaires are the written list of the questions that uses that are used in the competency mapping. There may be various kinds of the questionnaires that may be used for this purpose. The first may be called as a common metric questionnaires. It has the 5 sections like background, contact with people, decision making, physical and mechanical activities, and work setting. The background section asks 41 general questions. The contacts with people section asks 62 questions. The 80 decision making items in the CMQ. And then physical and mechanical activities section contains 53 items. Work setting includes 47 items. So this is a kind of a questionnaire that includes a lot of the questions on the various subjects. So based on that, the job profiles may be developed, the list of the competencies may be developed. Then there may be another kind of the questionnaire named as functional job analysis. The most recent version of functional job analysis uses 7 scales that are things, data, people, worker, instructions, reasoning, maths, and the language. So the data may be collected with the use of the incumbents, those who are already doing the jobs on that designations, in terms of all these 7 elements. And then the list of the competencies may be developed with the use of this questionnaire. Then there may be mosaic. It is called as multi-purpose occupational system analysis inventory. Under this, there are 2 major descriptors in the questionnaires, that are task and the competencies. Tasks are rated on importance and competencies are rated on several scales, including importance and requirements for performing the task. Then there may be occupational analysis inventory. It is a kind of a questionnaire that includes 617 work elements. The major categories of items are fivefold, like information received, mental activities, work behavior, work goals, and work context. Then respondents rate each job element on one of the 4 rating scales, part of the job extent, applicability, or a special scale designed for the element. So again, this is a kind of a questionnaire that is comprehensive, and that gives a list of the competencies that are required to perform a particular job. Then there may be position analysis questionnaire. It includes 195 job elements. Further, it is divided into the 5 categories, like the information output, mental processes, work output, relationship, and job context. So this kind of a questionnaire again may be utilized by the HR or the personal department to attain the information on a particular designation, so that they can prepare a list of the competencies that are required to perform a particular job. Then there may be the WPS, that is a work profiling system. It is designed to help the employers accomplish human resource functions. Like the competency approach is designed to get the reports targeted towards various human resource functions. There are 3 versions of the WPS, and that are tied to the occupations like managerial, service, and technical occupations. So again, it is a kind of a structured questionnaire which measures the ability and the personality attributes of the employees, those who are associated with that particular positions. And based on that, the list of the competencies are prepared, so that further it may be mapped, the competency may be mapped with the skills of the employees. So this is also one of the way with which kind of a questionnaire, with the help of which the competency mapping may be done in the organizations. Then the other way is the psychometric tests. Psychometric tests are the kind of the test, mental aptitude test, in which the objective is just to check the attitude and the kind of the skills of the employees. Like when we talk about the psychometric test, it is a standardized objective measure of a sample of behavior. It is a standardized because the procedure of administering the test, the environment in which the test is taken, and the method of calculating individual scores are uniformly applied for all the employees. So that's why it is a standardized objective test. And there may be two kinds of the test that comes under the psychometric test. It may be aptitude test and the achievement test. What is aptitude test? Aptitude test, actually aptitude is the inherent ability of an employee. So that kind of the test that checks the natural and the inherent abilities of the employees may be called as the aptitude test. So this is one of the tests with which the behavior of the employees may be judged, and the accordingly what kind of the behavior exactly is required to perform their job again can be assessed with the use of this test. Then there may be the second test called as achievement test. These tests measure the level of the proficiency that a person has been able to achieve. So these all are the ways with which the competency mapping may be done in the organization. There is a competency mapping process also. First step is to develop the competency model, and then for various jobs the competencies are identified, and at last assessing the competency to measure the extent to which a given individual possess these competencies required for a given role. And if they are not having that kind of the competencies which are required or expected on that job, then further training is given to them so that they can develop all that kind of the competencies. So in nutshell, there are total 3 steps in the competency mapping process. There are the advantages and the disadvantages of the competency mapping. First, the advantages to the organization. It is a concept that provides the opportunity to evaluate the competency level of the employees. It is a cost-effective method. The data may be gathered and the information may be utilized to take the important decisions like recruitment, promotion, succession planning. It also identifies the training and development needs. It can assess the adaptability to change, and it also helps in enhancing the productivity of the employees inside the organization. Then there are certain advantages to individuals also. It helps the employees to evaluate themselves. Then there may be the individual knowledge and the capabilities that may be noticed with the use of the competency mapping tools. Then since on the job training is provided to the employees, they can easily develop their skills at their own speed. The time taken by the employees for their self-development is less as compared to other self-development programs in the case of the competency mapping. This method also helps the tedious managers becomes more dynamic. So this is all the kind of the advantages that the concept competency mapping has. Like when we talk about the term competency mapping, the word in itself contains the meaning like competency mapping. Whenever we are trying to map up the competency of an individual with his job, so that may be called as the competency mapping. There are certain disadvantages of the competency mapping also. There are many organizations that follows the concept of competency mapping but do not allow the employees to work in those departments where their skills can be best utilized. So this is one of the disadvantage. Then the competency mapping needs to be upgraded frequently, and if you are working on the outdated ways of the competency mapping, then it may not be very much fruitful for any company, and even it is a costly affair, and it takes a lot of time also. So that's why all these are the disadvantages of the competency mapping. Now the next concept is the career development. When we talk about the career development, it includes the vertical issues like the ladder and the vertical steps in that ladder, like such as the promotions and the upward mobility. So there may be the horizontal movement also that may be the part of the career development, but basically it is related with the vertical movement of any person in his career. When we talk about the characteristics of the career development, it includes the following. It is a continuous process. It aids in developing and sharing transferability of proficiencies and skills. It raises employee satisfaction. It helps employees in enhancing their competencies. It makes an organization culture more proficient. There are few steps that are involved in the career development plan. Number 1 is the self-assessment. One should self-evaluate his existing skills, capabilities, aptitude, and knowledge. Then there must be goal setting also. One should set the goals for himself or herself. The goals may be long term or the short term. Then just to achieve that particular goal, there must be a plan of action. The time that would be required to achieve that goals and what would be the plan of the action. That again is very much necessary for any incumbent to plan if he is just working on his career development plan. So like there must be the proper training and the education and the mentoring that should be provided by the organization to support the employees so that they can up in the ladder of their career. They can have the upward movement in the ladder of their career. So these all are the steps that are involved in the career development plan. Then career development plan is important because of the following reasons. It evaluates the capabilities critically. It creates a pool of talent. It helps in retaining the talent in the organization. It enhances the employee aspirations. It helps in work life balance. It meets the legislative criteria. It enhances organizational competitiveness, and it keeps the employees updated. So, like career development plans are really required by any organization. If that is a good organization, they should always think about the career development plan of their employees, and they should always give the chance to the employees so that they can think ahead, so that they can move up into their careers. The good organizations always have the best of the career development plans with them, and even they provide a lot of facilities to the employees with which they can develop their career in the organization. Like when we talk about the career development process, so there are 4 stages into it. Number 1 is the exploratory stage. This is the first stage where the new employee joins the organization. He is not very much well versed with the organization culture. So at this stage, he needs the proper orientation. Sometimes, even after having the good orientation, employees are not able just to adapt the culture of the organization properly. So at this stage, the employees need the best of the help and the support from the management. And then the next stage is the establishment stage. After a new entrant chooses his career from different given alternatives, he needs to be provided with a regular feedback on his performance. Like this regular feedback works as a magic for him. He actually knows about himself, like what exactly he is doing on the job. With the use of the feedback, he can just check whether the kind of a job he has opted for himself, whether he is good on that or not, how he is performing, whether that career is for him or not. So that kind of an establishment stage, it is the second stage again, which is very much crucial. Then there may be the maintenance stage. It is a mid-career stage for the employees who strive hard to retain their established name and fame. So therefore, at this stage, employees need to put their continuous efforts for self-development. For an organization, career development process at this stage therefore calls for renewing and updating the skills of the employees, particularly in the context of changing environment, to help employees to overcome their mid-career crisis. In the organizations in which there is no facility of the career development programs, the employees used to switch that particular jobs. So that's why at this stage the employees feel demotivated sometimes, so they need the proper support of the management of the organization. And at last, it is a stage of decline. It is the stage which is at the time of the retirement, which comes at the time of the retirement of the employees. Employees are scared from the possible threat of reduced role of the responsibilities in the organization. Such complexity is behaviorally associated with the old age of the employee. And at this stage, like again, it aims at helping the employees to get mentally prepared for retirement rituals. So there must be a kind of an environment in which the employees must feel comfortable even at this stage. They should have the proper job secure, like the income security in their mind, and they should feel like good even at the last of the years of the retirement in that particular company. So there may be total 4 stages in the life of any person as an employee. It may be the exploratory stage, it may be establishment stage, it may be maintenance stage, and the stage of the decline. And all the organizations play a crucial role in all these career development stages. Now, at last, the linkage of the competency mapping with the career development. So there is a direct link of the competency mapping with the career development. Even when you get or we get the first job, it all depends on our competency level. When we have the proper competencies and skills, so we have the better chances to have the great job, to have a good job with us. And even in our career, it is all our competencies. If we develop our skills, our competencies, so we have the great chances of the career development. So the people, those who are competent enough, may have the best of the chances, the better chances to be up into the career ladder. So there is a direct link of the competency mapping with the career development. So whenever we are moving in the career development stages, it is all our competency that helps us in attaining whatever we want to achieve in terms of our career objective. So that's all from this lecture. I believe like the concepts like competency mapping and career development are clear to you now. And thank you for your attention. So that's all from my side.